What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with some more fantasy football content. I'm talking week 2 tight end rankings, half point PPR. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I bring you guys rankings, waiver wires, buy lows, sell highs, all the information you need to dominate your league mates. Hit that subscribe button if you want to do that. Hit that like button to help support the video. If you have any questions or comments, any start sits, any trade advice, anything like that, leave it down in the comments and I will respond as always. Now let's hop into these rankings. So at number 1, I have Travis Kelsey facing off against Baltimore. He's clearly the top tight end in fantasy. Number 2, Darren Waller against Pittsburgh. We saw him get that crazy target share last week. I'm firing him up in every matchup. Obviously, you are too. Anyone, if you drafted any of these 3 top 4 or 5 guys even, you're firing them up every single week. Third up, George Kittle against Philly. Like I said, you fired him up. I know some people might be concerned about the target share with the receivers. I'm not that concerned, especially who knows what Ayuk's role will be this week. Fire up George Kittle. He's just super talented. TJ Hockinson had a crazy target share. I'm firing him up. He could be a top 3 tight end by the end of the year. He has that type of upside. He's one of the few guys I think that could really break in if he could stay healthy and, one of these other guys got hurt or something like that. Or maybe even not. Maybe he's just so involved in that Detroit offense he could potentially break into that tier. I'm firing up TJ Hockinson. I'd be very excited if I was an owner of him, which I am in a few leagues, and I'm pretty pumped. So, yeah, I think you should be too. Ran 53 routes last week, a ridiculous amount for a tight end. I think next up was like 40 or something like that. So he's just running a ton of tight end routes for the tight end position. Number 5, we got Mark Andrews going against the Chiefs. I think he'll be more involved this week. I think he has a good chance of catching a touchdown. They'll be trailing. The game script should be probably positive for him. So fire up Mark Andrews. Number 6, we've got Kyle Pitts against Tampa. Tampa is a tough defensive matchup, especially with the linebackers they have. Levante David, Devin White, the athleticism, especially some of those secondary guys too. But Kyle Pitts is a freak. I'm still firing him up. If I drafted him, there's not really many options at the tight end position. So, yeah, play Kyle Pitts. Rob Gronkowski, we've seen what he did last week against that porous Dallas defense. Atlanta's not much better. I'll be playing him. I think he is a sneaky player this year. I think people are sleeping on him a little bit too much. I think he could have a really solid year and can eventually score, 8, 9 touchdowns, something like that, the tight end position, which is going to be very fruitful for fantasy, especially if you don't have a great fantasy quarterback or fantasy tight end and you've got Tom Brady as your quarterback. I love getting that stack if I could. Number 8, Noah Fant against Jacksonville. With the Jerry Jeudy going down, I think he could have a bigger target share. Jacksonville's defense is awful. They looked so bad last week. So, yeah, I'm definitely playing Noah Fant this week if I've got him. Dallas Goddard at number 9 against San Francisco. I think there's a chance Zach Ertz doesn't play this week. If he doesn't, Dallas Goddard's a big-time option to me. If he does play, if Zach Ertz does play, he could still be limited. I think he's still probably a top 12, 13 play. But, I would definitely knock him down a few spots if Zach Ertz ends up suiting up. So keep an eye on that. Number 10, we've got Logan Thomas going against the New York Jets. Tonight, Thursday night, that's in that game. No Curtis Samuel. I think that he could be, that number 2 in that offense behind Terry McLaurin and hopefully, Antonio Gibson. Hopefully he can have more targets than Gibson, and I think he will throughout the course of the season. I have Logan Thomas number 10. 11, we got Tyler Higbee against the Colts. We saw how good Matthew Stafford looked last week. He's the lone star at tight end right now. Gerald Everett out of town. I'd fire him up. Optimism around that entire offense. Number 12, we've got Robert Tonyan against Detroit. Touchdown upside. Could potentially be a lot higher than this if he has a good week. Get some targets this week. That whole game for the Packers on offense, I honestly just throw it out almost. Obviously, you felt it. You probably lost if you started the Green Bay Packers, and that stinks. But they've had games like this in the past. Tampa Bay last year, the Chargers the year before that, where they've just gotten destroyed and they've been able to bounce back, just got nothing going. So hopefully they can get something going this week against Detroit, and I think they will. 13, we got Cole Kmet against Cincinnati. He was involved. It's a good matchup. That's why I've got him there. 14, Jonnu Smith, same thing. Led the tight end position, hit 5 targets. Jets defense is not exactly great by any means, so I think you can play Jonnu Smith this week. And at 15, Austin Hooper going against a bad Houston Texans defense. no Odell Beckham Jr., there's a chance he catches a touchdown. That would be great. That's what you're looking for with most of these tight ends. So I'd be starting him in that order. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any start sits or anything like that, any questions, leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll respond. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching.